Please subscribe to my channel. Books break the shackles of time, proof that humans can work magic. Reading for me is spending time with a friend. Fools have a habit of believing that everything written by a famous author is admirable. For my part, I read only to please myself and like only what suits my taste. How many a man has dated a new era in his life from the reading of a book? Reading is a basic tool in the living of a good life. A children's story that can only be enjoyed by children is not a good children's story in the slightest. For my whole life, my favorite activity was reading. It's not the most social pastime. A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one. Until I feared I would lose it, I never loved to read. One does not love breathing. Never trust anyone who has not brought a book with them. You can never get a cup of tea large enough or a book long enough to suit me. Reading is essential for those who seek to rise above the ordinary. I find television very educating. Every time somebody turns on the set, I go into the other room and read a book. Classic, a book which people praise and don't read. So please, oh please, we beg, we pray, go throw your TV set away, and in its place you can install a lovely bookshelf on the wall. Think before you speak. Read before you think. Let's be reasonable and add an 8th day to the week that is devoted exclusively to reading. That's the thing about books. They let you travel without moving your feet. The reading of all good books is like conversation with the finest people of the past centuries. In the case of good books, the point is not to see how many of them you can get through, but rather how many can get through to you. Reading one book is like eating one potato chip. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Reading is an exercise in empathy, an exercise in walking in someone else's shoes for a while. Books are a uniquely portable magic. I read a book one day and my whole life was changed. People say that life is the thing, but I prefer reading. Today a reader, tomorrow a leader. People can lose their lives in libraries. They ought to be warned. A good book is an event in my life. Reading brings us unknown friends. The world was hers for the reading. I kept always 2 books in my pocket, one to read, one to write in. The person who deserves most pity is a lonesome one on a rainy day who doesn't know how to read. Once you have read a book you care about, some part of it is always with you. Literature is the most agreeable way of ignoring life. No, I can survive well enough on my own, if given the proper reading material. There is more treasure in books than in all the pirates' loot on Treasure Island. We are of opinion that instead of letting books grow moldy behind an iron grating, far from the vulgar gaze, it is better to let them wear out by being read. A room without books is like a body without a soul. My alma mater was books, a good library. I could spend the rest of my life reading, just satisfying my curiosity. It's not that I don't like people. It's just that when I'm in the company of others, even my nearest and dearest, there always comes a moment when I'd rather be reading a book. Books to the ceiling, books to the sky, my pile of books is a mile high. How I love them. How I need them. I'll have a long beard by the time I read them. There is nothing more luxurious than eating while you read, unless it be reading while you eat. One glance at a book and you hear the voice of another person, perhaps someone dead for 1,000 years. To read is to voyage through time. I have a passion for teaching kids to become readers, to become comfortable with a book, not daunted. Books shouldn't be daunting, they should be funny, exciting and wonderful. And learning to be a reader gives a terrific advantage. Man reading should be man intensely alive. The book should be a ball of light in one's hand. If we encounter a man of rare intellect, we should ask him what books he reads. Always read something that will make you look good if you die in the middle of it. Many people, myself among them, feel better at the mere sight of a book. Beware of the person of one book. Read the best books first, or you may not have a chance to read them at all. Make it a rule never to give a child a book you would not read yourself. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new after all. I can't imagine a man really enjoying a book and reading it only once. You know you've read a good book when you turn the last page and feel a little as if you have lost a friend. Some books leave us free and some books make us free. Once you learn to read, you will be forever free. There are many little ways to enlarge your child's world. Love of books is the best of all. Wear the old coat and buy the new book. You may have tangible wealth untold. Caskets of jewels and coffers of gold. Richer than I you can never be. I had a mother who read to me. The man who does not read good books is no better than the man who can't. To learn to read is to light a fire. Every syllable that is spelled out is a spark. Oh, magic hour, when a child first knows she can read printed words. A book is a gift you can open again and again. Fill your house with stacks of books, in all the crannies and all the nooks. Show me a family of readers, and I will show you the people who move the world. A classic is a book that has never finished saying what it has to say. I have always imagined that paradise will be a kind of library. Reading is a discount ticket to everywhere. No entertainment is so cheap as reading, nor any pleasure so lasting. I think books are like people, in the sense that they'll turn up in your life when you most need them. If you are going to get anywhere in life, you have to read a lot of books. That perfect tranquility of life, which is nowhere to be found but in retreat, a faithful friend and a good library. To acquire the habit of reading is to construct for yourself a refuge from almost all the miseries of life. Rainy days should be spent at home with a cup of tea and a good book. These books gave Matilda a hopeful and comforting message: you are not alone. I guess there are never enough books. Despite the enormous quantity of books, how few people read. And if one reads profitably, one would realize how much stupid stuff the vulgar herd is content to swallow every day. If you don't like to read, you haven't found the right book. Libraries will get you through times of no money better than money will get you through times of no libraries. Ah, how good it is to be among people who are reading. Children are made readers on the laps of their parents. I couldn't live a week without a private library. Indeed, I'd part with all my furniture and squat and sleep on the floor before I'd let go of the 1500 or so books I possess. Books are good company, in sad times and happy times, for books are people who have managed to stay alive by hiding between the covers of a book. Luckily, I always travel with a book, just in case I have to wait online for Santa, or some such inconvenience. Outside of a dog, a book is a man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read. I always read. You know how sharks have to keep swimming or they die? I'm like that. If I stop reading, I die. There is no frigate like a book to take us lands away. I intend to put up with nothing that I can put down. Books are not made for furniture, but there is nothing else that so beautifully furnishes a house. I took a speed reading course and read War and Peace in 20 minutes. It involves Russia. There are worse crimes than burning books. One of them is not reading them. When I look back, I am so impressed again with the life-giving power of literature. If I were a young person today, trying to gain a sense of myself in the world, I would do that again by reading, just as I did when I was young.